Fáilte Gildea go dtí an field the Misha Brendan O'Domhnaill and shot Highland Radio. Welcome everyone to the show. Gourmet Agav a lig San and Tahiart a Horan. Thanks everyone a Horan Shiv. Thanks everyone for the support, ongoing support of the DL debate. Thanks so much, and I want to thank Ivan Borden for the Power Hour Plus. Joe Dex here. Joe Wham Bam, thank you Sham. Joe, one of the best Shams you could meet. Joe, who owns Sham? I would like to know. Sean O'Donnell's coming on. Tuam is called Sham Town. Ballyshannon reckons they have Shams. There's a lot of shamming going on around the country. That's one for another debate. Myself and Joe will go through that there. Folks, coming up on the show this evening, Sean O'Donnell, as I say, two former greats of Donegal and Galway. Sean O'Donnell and our own John Gildea are going to talk about Galway and Donegal, the draw yesterday in the big game in Division 1. We're then going to talk with Michael McMullen of Gaelic Life. We're going to go through all the weekend's action, including two big victories for Derry and a much needed victory for relegation haunted Tyrone as well. After that, I'll speak with ladies manager Chris Daly. He's give us a few words on their very important win over Mayo at the weekend, putting them in a great position to go up to Division 1 again. So James Daly, sorry, my apologies, James. So we'll hear from James later on in the show. Folks, we obviously on Saturday I was at Croke Park addressing Congress, kind of. I was outside anyway with Gaels Against Genocide, very well run event that we had. We had a protest outside. We had some brilliant people there, you know, Tyrone's Joe McMahon, Eugene McKenna, Peter Canavan, some Down legends like Greg McCartan, Greg Blaney, Ross Carr, Michael Ernie, Colin O'Rourke of Meath, Brian McGilligan of Derry, all All-Ireland winners, me stuck in the middle of them. Even the great David Hickey was there, a great humanitarian, and just a protest against the ongoing links of the GA to aliens who've been cited in the UN report as have been a major financial backer to Israel in their ongoing genocide in Gaza and the West Bank. Folks, just to say, coming back into Division 1, we're going to have a wee discussion as well on, I'll just mention the hurling, and yesterday Donegal with a big victory over Louth. Mickey McCann's going to be on the show next week. The Camogie ladies were beat in the second game out, but listen, that's new to them, new competition, new team, and it'll take a bit of time for everyone to gel there. But I was saying at the top of the show, I'm joined by two great men, John Gildea and Sean O'Donnell. How are you, lads?
Good now, thanks very much, Brendan, and yourselves?
Lads, going well, yeah. I can hear him that well there, Joe. Is there...
Who can't you hear, me or John? Who can't you hear?
Sorry, Sean.
I don't think you can hear you. That was...
I was in the wrong headphones. Come on, Joe. I've never seen headphones coming out. Who's running this operation?
You were in the right shoes, left and right this morning, eh?
Here, I never used the left in my life. You know that, Sean.
Mine was only for standing down. I'm the same boat.
100%. Hey, you were a man for a big boomer in your day. They were doing a queer 2-pointer in your locker.
Jeez, I tell you, that's the point. Jeez, I would have scored about 20 points at this stage. You don't mean like that. Like, they do 2-pointers. Only single my time. So, but listen.
and Sean, is that in a game or in your whole career?
It was only in Croke Park.
Oh yeah, the big stuff. Only when the big stuff mattered.
We're accounted.
we nearly ran under them, remember, in 98. Of course, we lost that Ulster final, and then Galway beat Derry, which I wasn't too sad about, of course, with my Galway connections, lads. That's all the history. It'd be good to get an old reminisce sometime, Sean. But listen, just starting with you, Sean. Yesterday's game, Galway under a bit of pressure, wee bit relegation, threatened both teams. Probably missing maybe 6-7 of their starters. What did you make of it from the Galway performance? Are you happy with the point in the end?
No, being honest with you, Brendan, I think we left it behind us, being honest with you. Like, when you're playing, we were playing so well. I think we dominated in certain areas. And then, like, when, we saw, Brendan Cole getting sent off, we thought that stage surely we could bring it home, and we didn't. So I'm kind of looking back on a bit of the last 2 weeks where Galway, like against Roscommon with 40 minutes played, 13 points up, with 44 minutes played, 6 points up. We seem to be losing leads, which is not good. We're a bit of a strange fish at the moment because it reminds me, I think I told you this before yesterday, that we're a bit like the Irish rugby team. We don't know what team we're putting out, and we don't know exactly how we're going to play. So it's the problem I find with Galway when the chips are down and people aren't giving us a chance, we show up. And then when the games we expect to do better in, especially like Roscommon there 2 weeks ago and Mayo, we didn't perform. So, and like we play up, is it Monaghan we play next away, where people were saying we should win that handy. I would actually have a question mark on that game. And that's the problem with Galway at the moment. We don't know. You could say we're missing a good few players, 3, 4 max. The ones like we were talking about, probably not Cormer, Shea Welch. I don't see that. I don't see Comer if he is going to be a late show. Shane Welch is a loss. McDade's a loss as well. But I worry about this team. We found a few stars.
Thompson's coming back though, Sean, right?
He's coming back from the States, but you know yourself, you're not going to be right.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not a scenario where you have 4 weeks like long ago when we were playing. There was a big break. He's going to come back. There's a game every week. He's not going to be championship fit, so I don't expect him to be like fitness ready for championship.
And John, from our own perspective, that's 14 games unbeaten at Ballyshannon. It was like a battle kind of game. Obviously, our bench looked a lot stronger and needed to make an impact. As Sean was saying, but Donegal playing the majority of the game with the 14, they really stood to it at times. And Sean mentioned there, you probably see the best of Galway when their backs to the wall, but Donegal was backed into a bit of a corner yesterday. But you've seen the bit of quality come out as well, and some brilliant play. Some lads, I suppose, John, it's kind of a testament to Jim McGuinness's team. Everybody that's there seems to be playing almost to their best.
Yeah, and I suppose initially I'd have to agree with Sean in the sense that, even though it was a draw game, I would feel that Donegal would walk away from it happier than Galway, because it was really an opportunity when you consider Donegal played 40 minutes with 14 men, and, with 20 minutes to go, Galway were in the driving seat, 6 points up with a man up, and really should have, been home and dry at that stage and figure out a way of shutting it down. On the flip side of that, then it's a very good sign of a team that ultimately wasn't going that well early on. I thought they started poorly, seemed a bit sluggish. I felt you lose the likes of Rorty and Mogan, that dynamism that's driving forward. We lost that a little bit, and then because of that, we struggled. And then McHugh and guys like that were easier shut down. I also felt that Galway brought a huge amount of intensity and physicality to the game, and it was really rugged stuff. And it was Donegal at certain times overreacted to that. I know Michael Langle will be disappointed, but I could understand why he did it, because it really was a black card foul on the way out. And then obviously Stephen McMullen I felt he was harshly done in the first yellow card. He was a little bit unlucky. It was just a challenge. Second one he can have no qualms about. But it's a good sign from a Donegal perspective that when the chips were down, they managed to find a way. They dug it out. The way the modern game is right now, no matter how far ahead you are, how far behind you are, if you have the quality and if you keep your head, there's always the opportunity to kick 2-pointers and drag yourself back into the game. So overall, the Donegal substitutes made a big impact in the game. And we had more quality. I felt we had more quality and depth throughout. And when you're missing those 4 or 5 players that Sean mentioned already, the Comers, the Walshes, the McDades, good to see Paul Conway coming back in again. That's going to be a help for them. And I think the big issue, maybe from a Galway point of view, and maybe Sean would talk about this more than me, is that at a crucial stage during the game, Donegal took over in the middle of the park. Now, I know we're particularly big around that area, but it's something maybe Galway have to look at, in the sense that, Donegal won 70% of their own kickouts in the second half, and they won 50% of the Galway kickout. And in a game that now is determined by kickouts, that's something probably Galway have to look at. And John Maher did a lot of work in there, but I don't know if he's a natural midfielder. So having Conway come back is probably going to be helpful. I don't know what his legs are like, because like as all, he's not getting any younger. But it's probably something that was a big determinant as regards how the match went yesterday at a crucial stage. Yeah,
you want to take that up, Sean?
Yeah, really, number one, you're correct 100%. We have a problem with a goalkeeper, simple as that. When you think of what you have with Patton coming back, Conor Gleeson, unfortunately for me, isn't good enough to this level. And I hate putting down any player that's there, because he's a great stop shopper, but his kick out wouldn't be the best. He's come up a few times. He hasn't scored, I think, since that one he got against Mayo 2 years ago. And I know why he's bringing him up the field. And you saw that time at the end where there was a just outside the 45, where I think would have put us 3 points up. And he fluffed it. He went short. So I find it in there. I thought Maher, I kind of disagree with you, John, and not in a bad way. I think Maher's outstanding. He's such a player for us, so important. He's a box-to-box player. His engine is unbelievable for a guy that's come back from a serious injury. I agree with you. he didn't have any help in the middle at all. Like Darcy was brought back there starting full forward, but we knew he wouldn't have been. I thought Matthew Tierney went out of the game totally at the end, where I thought in the first 20 minutes, especially the first half, something that you haven't seen Donegal done, we put you under so much pressure. The amount of turnovers, hand passing, the simple game which you shouldn't be you'd be giving out about. They give so many passes back to us through pressure. So it was kind of a way that maybe it's going to be a great test for Jim and the lads, where that's the first time you could say this year that we saw Donegal under pressure, which was a scenario which they haven't been used to, scoring and kind of that. We had our goal chances, we didn't take them. It shows you again, we talk about these young lads coming on, and there was about 3 or 4 chances where the more experienced players would have done well. I thought Gavin Mullaney was very good in goal. Even then with saying that, we didn't test him. The kicks they were nearly kicked at him, where do you expect a good goalkeeper would save anyway. I thought if you think all of our forwards except for Darcy scored, I thought we put you under pressure that way. But I think Galway is kind of a scenario that's strange. It is, for the moment, it's all about staying in Division 1. Paul Conroy, the jury's out on him at the moment. Paul Conroy's only done 2 weeks training.
He looked at Sean. He looked at yeah.
You see, even last week coming on, I think PJ's doing a big mistake. There's a lot of questions. Did he want to come back? We saw that against Roscommon. They bring him on, the crowd, the big cheer. No offense to Paul Conroy, because he doesn't need, as I say, he's got nothing or no answer to anybody for what he's done and his service to Galway football. But I think Porrick put him under the bus a bit, scenario that he shouldn't be seen until April. Because he's done 2 weeks training. Like when you see Michael Murphy and the amount of training he's done, I know that Paul Conroy hasn't even done a touch of that much. And you could see the kick at the end was just a kind of a pull kick. So we like saying that, it's good to see him. I only see Paul Conroy last 10 minutes in a championship match, really, because the legs aren't there. When you're 38 years of age, as we know, we've been there, the head is still young, but the body is not caught up with it. And you will get caught out with these new rules and in Croke Park. And that's my worry for him, that he will get caught out. And he was caught out in the last 2 games.
Do you know what, John, just on that, I mean, that is normal, and I agree with Sean, for really the entire population, but not for one man, Michael Murphy. I mean, one of my friends from Galway said to me, he says he came on the pitch and he left one of our 26-year-old defenders for dead, pace-wise. I said, he's faster. He's come back. He's like, what are you doing with this man? I said, listen, I was saying to Greg this morning, I think Murphy's the next evolution of human beings. He's not made of the same stuff as the rest of us, John.
Well, listen, it's like everything in life, you need an awful lot of luck as well. And we all can go, at times we went at that pace and then all of a sudden your hamstring goes and then all of a sudden there's times to be going that fast in a league game in Ballyshannon. I don't know if Michael needs to hit those top speeds. But listen, he's been very, moving on to Sean's point about Conway, he's been very well looked after in the sense that he's been given cameo roles at certain stages. His rehab is excellent. His workload is very carefully monitored. There's bigger things ahead for Michael. Obviously, he was earmarked yesterday for a half, and he got a half. And the day suited him as well. I know Paul or Sean said that there was a lot of turnovers in the game. The day itself was absolutely horrendous. You didn't even need to make a tackle yesterday to turn over the ball because it was just hard to get it from A to B at certain times. There was so much water around. And I think a big man on a day like that is very, very helpful. And he had a major impact in the game. He kicked a nice score. But again, nobody's going to be getting carried away. I think if we look at last year as a whole, maybe we were over-dependent on Michael. The fact that Michael hasn't played much this year and Donegal has done quite well without him is a positive. I think we need to use him sparingly and bearing in mind that he is the age he is, and no matter how well he's going, we need the rest of the team to stand up and take responsibility, and Michael then can add to that as opposed to being totally dependent on him. But listen, having Michael's back's great from an experience perspective. He obviously can kick his scores, he can win his ball, and he's going to be a huge asset in whatever way Jim decides to use him throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, yes, Paddy Higgery would say, you bang, the ground went. And that was the end of it, John. That's what you remind me of when you're on about the hammer going there. Sean, what about it then? Sean, obviously you both of you are midfielders, slightly on the taller side there, Mr. O'Donnell. You were colossus of a man, but about the kickouts, what's the options then? I mean, we obviously, you can see there with Mulroney, he's got a left or right foot chip into the corner. He's got a short kick, and obviously you've Patton then, probably the best in the business at kicks from all range. the only option for Galway is to really lump it out the middle, and then your percentage drops. So as lads were saying there, the modern thing is, what are you going to do with that? Is there other options there in the county?
There is and there isn't. The funny thing about it, probably the best option we have went to Roscommon. He's their goalkeeper, and he went for Bridget's. His brother is on the under-20s team, so that's the problem we have. We have a kind of a bad thing in Galway at the moment. Underage is only about 2 or 3 teams, which you have Armore, Clare Galway, and Corofin. And majority underage come through from either that club. Clare Galway seems to have a conveyor belt of goalkeepers, but we haven't had the calibre really going back for 10 years of what you've seen all around the county, where a lot of these guys are outfield players, and it's showing. You know what I mean? It's to win in All Ireland, especially at the moment. You need a keeper that can bomb it out 70, 80 yards, but also can ping it only 10 yards right into the hands. And we don't have that. Where Donegal at the moment have 2 keepers well able for that. So it's a problem Pádraig has, and he's not going to change it. He's going to keep with Conor Gleeson. That's the problem. There seems to be a bit of thing there going on at the moment. I don't know what it is. People say there's a bit of a click going on, but I don't know. It's something that would kind of worry you in the long run, because going back the latter couple of years, we have lost games because of this, and it hasn't been corrected. I saw McGrath that came in there in goal. He was someone I thought he'd maybe stick with. He didn't stick with him. He's changed him again. And when you start changing your keeper game after game, number one, they have no confidence. And anybody knows, doesn't make difference what position you play, but especially goalkeeper, it's built on confidence. And then what you have then is your outfield players, your half back line, your half forward line. Every keeper is a different style. So the only style Galway have at the moment, and you said it, bomb it out. And where he's bombing is the same side. So with the opposition, you just bunch it. So it's a 50-50 chance. If you don't catch it clean, it's going to be a break. And you don't want that. You want to be able to kind of spread it around, which we're not able. Like, no offense to the kid. You saw us, it's a bad day, you kick a kick out to a guy that's going off the pitch.
Yes.
Like, that's, like, to me, we joked and laughed about it, but it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he looked at your man, he was coming off, walking, it was McGrath, and he starts pointing. Like, it was obvious he was going off the field, and he should have seen it because it was a kick out. So those things worry. It's not a funny thing. It's a very serious mistake to do, and it's worrying for Galway at this moment in time.
Yeah. Just on Donegal, the pace at times they were coming at, their Donegal defence seemed very well set. Every time Galway looked to hit them on the counter, there seemed to be people there. Donegal seemed to be punching, able to get in the holes, and one of them was just unbelievable, is Conor Domhnaill. And the goal again, John, I mean, once he got the wrong side of the defence, he's actually pulling away from you. And you can see him arrowing out. He's coming into old 11 position. He's dropping the shoulders. He's running. He's engaging. He's shaking the whole defence. He has had some form. When you think about it yesterday, obviously the likes of Oisín Gallen not in there. Shane O'Donnell had been probably carried more ball than anybody in the country, I think, previous to this. The likes of Moore and the players that were left on the bench. So it was really Conor was the player that was really stepping up, taking it to Galway. And that goal was top drawer. I mean, Sean just mentioned there Galway coming inside, and I agree with him. There was great goal chances, but none of them were had to be conviction. But boy, did he put that into the onion bag.
Oh no, absolutely. And to be honest, he probably feels aggrieved. By if you look at it from Donegal's perspective, last year in the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, Conor Domhnaill was our best player over 3 games, and many felt that he should have had an All-Star last year, and he's come in with that same vein of form. And people also need to be aware that the young lad had at least one cruciate ligament injury, so he's only really finding his feet in the last 12 to 24 months, and he's really blossoming right now. And he's been Donegal's most consistent performer throughout the league. Every game he's in the man of the match conversation, and he just continued that on. He has an amazing turn of pace. He is very confident. He's not afraid to take people on. And then he's also 2-footed. And ironically enough, he'll probably be a bit disappointed because he left 2 very simple scores behind him, one on the left and one on the right. So he had an amazing game, scored an unbelievable goal, left everybody behind him. And as you know yourself, on a bad day, to cover that much ground at that pace and keep the ball under control is an achievement itself. And then to solo in on the left and then put it away on the right was amazingly skillful. So he's a big player for Donegal. He was a big player last year. He's been, I suppose, overlooked by a lot of people because, everybody wants to talk about Murphy and Gallen and, Langan and guys like that. But he's definitely going to be a big part of the Donegal jigsaw puzzle this year as we move forward, because he does bring something different in the half-forward line in the sense that he's very direct. Shane O'Donnell is on an awful lot of ball, but isn't really a clinical finisher and tends to cover a lot of ground. Whereas Conor O'Donnell, when he sees the goals there's and a bit of space at all, he opens up and goes for it. The other big thing this year, it's been a big advantage for us as well, is Big McGee is playing exceptionally well. He's getting his fitness back. He's not carrying any injuries right now, which is a big bonus for Donegal. And he's definitely been a huge plus for us around the middle of the park over the last couple of weeks as well.
I think his 2 points in a row was a big part of that comeback, John. Sean, just on with Conor O'Donnell, obviously, you have a man at the other end of the pitch in queer form, Self-Ocean O'Donnell. He had a great game. He's a real out-and-out finisher. Tierney, Affinity started well, kind of faded a bit in the game, but he was very consistent throughout. And you mentioned Maher. I just love watching Maher. He's in the middle of everything, connecting the play and getting stuck in. He's a player I love to watch. But just a word on that. He got the man of the match, and rightfully so. He had a great game and right across the whole match.
Yeah, personally myself, I thought Maher was actually outstanding myself going with that. But going back to Oisin, but just before Oisin, I thought Conor O'Donnell, I thought that goal, if the likes of David Clifford had actually struck that, it'd be all over the papers. I just thought winning the break, 70 yards out, running his way through, and as you said there, as John said, conditions soft on the foot, and to bury it. He had nothing else on his mind the minute he got that ball to bury it. So absolutely top class. And going again in that, sometimes it's funny, if Murphy was playing from the start and what I call it, you're talking royalty, these guys don't be seen as much. And I just think that's where he's coming into his own. As far as with a full forward line, they didn't score at all, and only himself and Jamie Brennan scored that time. But I just thought he was class, and he's a guy going forward. Going back to your original question, he's a neighbour of mine here from Lettsmore, or they're noisy neighbours, we call them. He's not that young. People think actually he's 26. He's a guard up in Mayo, so he's been on the road for a while, playing absolute great football for his club. Free taker, very committed. And I kind of thought it was a bit cruel on Porrick against Armagh. He kind of threw a bit of blame at him for that chance when he came on as a sub, and he didn't they're saying he should have popped it over the bar, and he went for the goal to the leg. And it's good to see that he came out, got another chance, and to take his chances. I thought he was outstanding. Again, like Conor, he left one or two nice easy ones behind him, but I thought especially in the first half when he was needed, and especially at the buzzer, he took that kind of a game on himself to pop it over the bar, and I just thought he's outstanding. Another guy beside him, another kind of neighbour of Spittle, Liam O'Connell, I thought is a great footballer too, bit hampered by injury, great young lad as well. These guys, he's only about 21, but a great footballer for the future. So if these guys get the game time, which they wouldn't if our stars were still here. So it's kind of a good thing for Galway, I suppose, for the long term and the long run, that these guys are getting chances because the Comers, the Walshes, the McDades are injured at this moment in time. But Oisin McDonagh, class act, really, in all fairness, and really happy for him that the way he played for him, because he got a bit of stick the week before from Armagh, so it's good to see that happening. Finnerty, going back to him, again, probably looking at him at the pitch, the most laziest player to ever put on a pair of boots. You look at him. But the most lethal. He's lethal. You look at him, you say, this guy's not going to do anything. Next thing he turns left or right. We all know he's going to do the dummy left, and we still buy it. And he's great that way, and he's still showing up for what he does. So we're lucky enough. He's playing very well at the moment, showing leadership. Disappointed Matthew Tierney, great start, went out of the game at the end, so kind of thought it'd be a bit better than that. But I remember you said there as well, like, you talk about, like, in all fairness, Michael Murphy. He was marking a guy who's probably 23, Keane Hernan at that time, and he absolutely burned him. And I still don't know how he did it. Seriously, if there ever is a body to go to medical science, please put it forward, because I love to see what's in that man. He's unbelievable, legend.
He is. We're lucky to have him. 194 games to equal Neil McGee's all-time record. So that's another thing he's going to do, John, on top of everything else. Go ahead, John. You going to say something?
No, I wasn't. I was going to say probably an angel dust. God knows what's on at this stage.
Angel dust.
You know,
I showed your age there. Yeah, John.
It's showing his age. Yeah.
There's probably newer stuff now, Brendan, that you could suggest. But no, listen, it's but you know the funny thing, and overall, I think Galway are going to come away happy enough with this. They found a couple of players coming back. They want to stay in Division 1. They're moving rightly. You know, if you look at Armagh, very much kind of in the same vein, you know, probably should have won a couple of more games, just like Armagh, left a couple behind them. You know, the league is for what it's for. from a Donegal perspective, we still can't figure out if Jim wants to go for the league or not go for the league. So, at least Galway know where they are. They're in the middle of the pack. There's going to be no issues as regards league finals or anything like that. And then it's knuckled down to the championship. And ultimately, we all know that's what it's all about. Porrick is under pressure. Maybe not so much pressure, but people will expect him to deliver. The only thing that matters from a Galway perspective is an All-Ireland title. And the only thing that matters from a Donegal perspective is an All-Ireland title. All the rest of it is just shadowboxing in between.
Yes,
Correct,
indeed.
John, yeah, correct. Sorry, just going there, you see, this is the problem with Galway at the moment, you see, is Gaelic titles are no good to us anymore, you see. That's the problem. Like, they're only for Mayo, it's an All-Ireland title. And we're on the latter part because we've left 2 behind us already in the last 4 or 5 years. And that's the problem. Like Armagh, we go back, and then Kerry. So we're at a stage now where, you look at our noisy neighbours, Mayo, and all the young lads are coming through. They're a force to be reckoned with what's coming. And we were never so happy to see a young lad called Toby going after Australia. But it's kind of a scenario that we are at that stage. It's now or bust, like, and which it's kind of worrying too, because we need everybody on board.
Yeah, you do, lads. Brilliant wrap up. I'm just going to give the last word on this game to, of course, the man himself, Pater Mogan, popping up in the pocket, as they call it. You're on about Australia there, so in the pocket for that 2-pointer. Fabulous kick from Mogan to wrap up the game, and I say keep Donegal's unbeaten run going. Lads, listen, thanks so much for wrapping up, Sean. Always great to chat to you. John, me and you'll be chatting further down the track, Sean, and we might see you around the All-Ireland series in a big day at Croke Park.
Lacuna Day. We'll see you, as I say, in the Croke Park Hotel, and we'll have a pint.
Look
after yourself, Sean.
Look after
yourself. You too, John. Look after them, mate.
Cheers,
Take
Sean.
care,
Cheers. That's two great. Come on, John. 2 great lads there, Sean O'Donnell and John Gildea. After the break, I'm going to talk about another top man, Michael McMullen of the Gaelic Life.
The DL debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Innovation is defined in moments with the all-electric Lexus RZ. From the streamlined silhouette to an interior of calm, every detail comes together to create amazing. Available with state-of-the-art one-motion grip steering, delivering intuitive control with every drive. Experience the all-electric RZ at your Lexus retailer. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Your local dealer is Lexus Letterkenny.
Feeling inspired by the new year? At Yisk, we're here to help to bring your vision to life. Explore our range of stylish home accessories and furniture to make this your most creative season yet. Yisk.
Scandinavian sleeping and living.
Let's stay in and watch a film. Don't forget to switch the lights off. Will you pop the kettle on? It's freezing.
Switching things on and off and searching for ways to save? Here's a switch that can really help. Sign up to one of our great value smart meter plans and save up to 24%. Visit electricireland.ie. EAB €1,255 based on 12-month Home Electric Plus SST electricity. Discounted unit rates with online billing, direct debit and VAT. Smart meter required. Subject to change. T's and C's apply.
The DL debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Yes, welcome back to the DL debate, folks. We are about to talk to the one and only Michael McMullen. Gary McDade was messaging me. He's under 15s and a half in a quarter final next week against St Mark's of Warren Point at St Eunan's College. My sister also asked me to mention a 96-hour fast for Gaza that's been held by St Celia's School in Derry. A couple of big GA men involved in that there. If you Google that, 96-hour fast St Celia's for Gaza, you can contribute to that. My sister Sharon works in there. Michael McMullen, how are you, sir?
Not too bad, Davey. How's things?
You've got the Derry colours on, boy. I like it. Hey, I shook hands with Brian McGilligan on Saturday, and I tell you what.
Is your hand still shaking?
You could just tell, hey, what a monster of a man. Hey, listen, great fella. Hey, I met him down at Croke Park there. But listen, Derry are going well, Michael. It's certainly great signs of them, and a lot of people teeing this up as the big kind of two. So another awesome scoring shout. You mentioned to me last week about Lachlan Murray back. He certainly contributed, but you know, all in all, Derry looking like they're coming back to something like themselves.
Brenton, an absolutely brilliant performance, as good as performance as I can remember of late. Bearing in mind you're playing against a Cork team who hadn't been beaten, and you're chatting to Sean O'Donnell there, a monster of a man. Cork are littered with them, and I think, Brenton, the fact that Derry did really well at midfield on both sets of kickouts was really pleasing, and something that the management team had obviously poured over a lot of detail and got it right, and it was their platform, and a fantastic result for Derry.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Sean was mentioned there just about this key aspect of kick-out. So we were talking as well about the goalkeeping situation there in Derry. So is there a variation there? Because that's what we need now, Mal, isn't it? I mean, you got to take your opportunities to get the shot away when you can. If you can clip one out wide to a wing, and it's only if you're forced you're going to actually thump it out the middle. So it's about having that variation and a lot of movement from your team to try and create that space.
Derry had that a lot at the weekend, Brendan. Now, Paddy McGrogan, he's very much their man who goes for the short. He probably does a wee bit like what Cialan McGonigal does for Donegal, only Derry always seem to play it to him, whereas McGonigal seems to be nearly like a decoy to pull a wee bit of width. But then they've been hitting Conor Doherty on the wing on a couple of occasions as well. And then I suppose yesterday, because there were so many big men and there was a strong breeze, for about 20 minutes at the start, it was good old-fashioned, put it out, get a couple of hands up and see who wins the break. And have to be fair, for about 30 minutes until Derry pulled away, it was a really, really excellent game of football. And then Derry sort of pulled away, and then it was a non-event then after that.
Yeah, you were saying to me last week, Mal, that just with Derry there, that maybe it wouldn't do another harm at Division 2 because, as you said yourself, Division 1's a bit unforgiving. But maybe what you've seen the last couple of weeks in terms of, would they be ready, would it be better for the Revolution to be back up in 1?
I would have always said that Division 1 was the be-all and end-all, and then obviously Armagh and Dublin have won the big one via Division 2, so that's the other side of it. But I often find that Division 2, at the tail end of the season, there's a lot of games that are non-events, really. So there's nearly more of a cut in Division 2 as well, because you have teams scrapping at one end and then others obviously trying to get promoted. But there's obviously, like, I was at the Donegal Armagh game a couple of weeks ago, and it was high quality stuff, you know, like two well conditioned teams. So it's a step up, and it probably does serve a purpose to be up there, but you need the squad to be there. Like Armagh are fine at the minute, Brenton, where the last couple of games they've only used 2 subs. Now I know that's to many people that's not a massive detail, but it just shows you, you know, that they're lacking a wee bit of depth at the moment. And I think when you go up, you probably need to be like a Kerry or a Donegal, where you've got that depth. But I suppose at the same time, Kieran McGuinness's side's creating loads of chances. But you just worry about that depth. And Derry, like, as much as there's been a lot of talent has come through, Brenton, there's not a lot of experience outside that 17 or 18 core. But then maybe you'll tell me that Division 1 is a place for, like, it hasn't done Shea Malone or Conor McCall or obviously Finbar Rorty, although he's probably freakish, but maybe Division 1 would be the place. But I would like us to just develop that squad that wee bit more.
Yeah, you mentioned Armagh there, no goals again, Mal, and you know there's a big issue with teams here not being able to score goals. It's you know, some amount of goal chances being created now in 11v11, but the amount of them is squandered. We were just chatting previously, the boys, Galway were inside 3 or 4 times, but terrible attempts, you know, and that again was Armagh's, you know, Achilles heel at the end of that scoring right. I know the game went from obviously with the breeze and what have you, but they're under pressure now, Mal.
They are, but the only thing is, Brenton, they are creating. I know that league points, like Geezer will be mad looking for league points now over the next. Well, he simply needs them, but they're creating those chances. They're getting into all the right places. Like against, you know, like Mulroney was excellent against them. Now against, I saw a wee bit of the Mayo game. There was one where Ross McMullen took a point later on, which I found was strange because the goal was on. But they are getting through the middle. They are getting in there. They are creating those chances. So, you know, a former forward yourself, Brenton, is it a case of you just have to work on that magic composure word at training and maybe absolutely, and maybe they're doing that anyway, but just dedicate, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour every night just to constant, finishing for goals, 1v1, or whatever it is, because they are creating them.
See, I think it can be hard, Mel, to recreate the goal scoring opportunities. Like, points are so much different. Like, when you look where you're coming in with an angle, what's happening, because there's a real tension when you get in around the house like that. It's a very different, I suppose, part of the game to finish a goal, because quite often people hammer the ball. There's no wild skill in that. Some people place it. Some people have a fair idea where it's going. So it just depends on the player, where it is, what it's happening. And I suppose it can be hard to put that type of pressure on you on in training, But certainly it's changing games so dramatically. I mean, Armagh, the amount of goal opportunities they've missed. I mean, from a point of view, remember Parkinson was on about the 7 fisted points over the bar. Then they've been going for loads of goals and missing them. If they had taken them, chances would have been different. Well, just a word in Tyrone, Tailteann Cup threatened there at one stage. We were talking. I know that really wasn't going to happen, but like that's. I mean, we expected them to beat Offaly, but it's been a real strange season so far for them.
It has been like. They'll probably be really disappointed they didn't close out the Kildare game, because they were in a really good position. Now the 2-point threat obviously did the damage for Kildare, because they were awesome on it in that second half. Against Derry, Derry completely bossed them all over the park, and they weren't, to be honest, they weren't really close territorially, but they still could have got something out of it. Now, there's a lot been made of the Louth game. Like, people are looking at Louth and saying that was a massive shock. Like, Louth are Leinster champions. RD is, I don't like using this term because I think it's overused, but I think RD is one of these places where you can genuinely say it's a tough place to go. I think that's the most overused statement ever. But RD is a tough place to go because I was there, and like Derry got out by the skin of their teeth. So, and Louth are a quality side. Like the average person will say, well, it's all about Sam Mulroy. They have so many options. So Tyrone, but at the same time, I think they're probably it's just a few leaders they need, because there's loads of talent has come through the underage teams, and you still need that core. Like, you can't rely on Petey Hart and Matty Donnelly. So it's the next generation, Brenton, that probably need to step up, and we maybe saw that like from Shawnee O'Donnell at the weekend. I don't think there's any danger of Tyrone dropping in the Tailteann Cup. And again, I thought there was a lot of alarm bells ringing very early, because it is only early in the season. But at the same time, if we're having this conversation in a couple of weeks' time and Tyrone stay up and score difference or head-to-head or something, then that's maybe a different conversation. But ideally, no matter what happens, that Armagh game in the championship, it'll be, there'll be hair flying and late tackles and all the fireworks that you'll want in that game. Yeah. And all of a sudden, that could be exactly what both teams need. Maybe that's what Armagh need as well, just something to really eye.
It's funny now, people are already kind of saying they're looking towards Armagh should win that match, and we both know that once that ball's hopped in, that's a complete 50-50 game. That, like, it's kind of irrelevant what'll have happened in the league. I mean, sure, you want a bit of form, as you said, Armagh probably creating chances and whatever, they're playing in Division 1, but when Armagh play Tyrone, those two teams are fairly evenly matched, and it'll come down to who equips themselves best in the day. Well, but a bit of a statement from the Dubs. You look at league games there, when a team is stung and you put into a corner, a lot of people questioning the attitude of Dublin last. They were very flat against Kerry. Their bottle. You can imagine Nick Ger Brennan probably used that all week. People are questioning your character, because they come out absolutely blood and thunder against Roscommon, and that's unlucky for Roscommon. Probably met them in a bad week. I think if they had played them the previous week, it could have been different. But Mel, from teams that are stung like that, because you can wind up a league team to get almost to a championship type buzz before the game if their backs to the wall and if their character's been challenged.
Very much so. And then I suppose, like, I'm sure Ger framed it from the point of view of, like, we're battling for our lives in Division 1 here versus Roscommon, who I know Roscommon were the form team, but they're still not the same bite. That's what worries me about the latter end of Division 1, maybe over the next two rounds, where there's some games are non-events, but this one here, I think Dublin were supposed perfectly set up. I think for me, what disappointed me about them against Kerry were just there were so many basic errors, Brenton. That you don't associate with Dublin, but like even like hand passes that went behind the man's run and handling errors that just you don't associate with them. But at the same time, like you're comparing it against, I know the Kerry Golden Years will disagree with this one, but you're comparing them against the best team they've ever played the game.
Yeah. And
those, that's what you're comparing it against. I think Dublin, they're way down the pack at the moment. I think one of them, I know we look forward to the championship, Brenton, but one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing is, can Dublin pull enough together, to get to a semi-final again, to have them back in the SAM conversation? At the minute, they're not. But who knows what they could do over the next wee while. But, that quality that they had, like it's been an overused statement, like they were awesome. And they're just not at that level.
There was always going to be a rough point. Well, but just down the last minute, just the word Monaghan, 7 points. It's you want everybody to be competitive, and it just looks like everything is going wrong there at the minute. You mentioned squads before, never working off a big squad, and it looks like it's a real tough season for them. Again, they could always be dangerous in the championship, but certainly league ways it's been a disastrous Division 1.
Oh, here, they came to Celtic Park a couple of years ago, and I actually spoke to Gabriel Brannigan about this last year, whenever they were flying high, and he said to me, look, that day in Celtic Park, like they were down to the bare bones in terms of injuries, and and they're not a massive county number-wise, Brendan, but like when you think of the amount of quality that they lost, Manzi, Darren Hughes, Carl O'Connell, experience, and then now they've lost more since that, so that leaves them in a really difficult situation.
Wiley,
and then you're trying to do that, Brenton. You're trying to blood players in Division 1, which is difficult.
Going back to your Derry point, all right, Mal, listen, 100%. Listen, Mal, thank you so much, and we'll keep an eye on things as this unfolds. Mal, looks like Donegal could be heading towards a league final. Might be hard to avoid at this point, and the Derry men are heading back up. So listen, all good for me and you anyway.
This is Sydney Swans top, by the way. I'm not on the bandwagon yet.
Top man, Sydney Swans. I love it. That's Michael McMullen there. You can read his articles and online as well in the Gaelic Life magazine. Mal, we'll be speaking to you as the season goes on.
Cheers to V.
Top stuff. Yeah, Michael McMullen, great stuff. I earlier today caught up with ladies manager James Daly after his side's impressive victory away to Mayo at the weekend, putting Donegal in a great position to go back up to Division 1. James Daly, welcome to the DL debate. How are you keeping today, sir?
Very good. Happy man after yesterday, so we're back on the right foot again, so going good.
Back on the right foot, James. Yeah, sitting up top along with Cavan there. You just tucked on behind him. James, very encouraging start to the season. Just the one defeat, but apart from that, 4 wins. You must be happy with how the team's shaping up.
Yeah, look, things have gone really well. We knew after last year we were very young. We needed to introduce with more experience, and we got some real good quality girls in from out in the county. Some of them who weren't available to us last year, but we're really happy after 5 games, and we're sitting in second place, a point behind Cavan. So no, look, it's going in the right direction, Brendan.
And just in terms of promotion, what's the method of it versus going up to the next division? How many teams go up, or is it playoffs?
No, it's the top two. The top two play the league final, and both teams are promoted anyway.
Sound.
So look, there's still a lot to be played for. We have 2 games. We play Tipperary and Wexford yet, and Cavan has tough games ahead of them as well. So look, there's good teams. There's still good teams in the group there that we've beaten by a point, or they've got beaten by a point somewhere else. But look, there's good teams there. So we just have to be at our best over the next 2 games and get ourselves over the line and get promoted to Division 1.
Yeah. And James, is that a big priority for these girls? Do you see the fact that you're on about playing, and we talk about it all the time about playing against the best and how that elevates? Do you think the team is in that kind of trajectory now where it's time to go up? It'd be a huge thing to get back into the top flight.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, every team wants to be playing at the top level, and like we have a lot of inexperience, but it's where we want to be. That was our thought going out to start of the season. First priority would be get promoted. We know Division 1 is going to be tough for us, but we feel like it's the next step for us. It's the next step for this team on this learning curve for them, and we're only going to learn going up and playing against the top teams week in, week out. Yes. And we think we can go up there and we can make a good account of ourselves.
Yeah, and James, listen, very encouraging victory again. I mean, nothing like a 1 point victory, and particularly when it was backs to the wall later on against Mayo, going away from home. As you said, that was a massive step towards that promotion goal.
Yeah, no doubt. We knew it was going to be tough going down into Mayo, yes, and they're a very proud county as well, and they don't like to get beat at home. But the game, the conditions, the weather, the rain, the wind, everything played a part in it yesterday. And like we went in at half time 2 points down against the wind, but we come out not being carried away, Brennan, the fact that we were playing with the wind. The wind was more driving across the field than anything else. And but the girls really dug in. A lot of girls stood up and were massive. We showed a lot of grit. We showed a lot of determination. Our aggression was good. Like defensively, we were so sound, and we put them under pressure at every point. And we deserved the win. But look, that's what it's all about. It's about getting the win. It doesn't matter what the scoreline says. It's just about getting the win and getting the 3 points on the board, and getting ready to play Tipperary in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and James, listen, you've had some brilliant performers all throughout this league campaign so far. Just a word on your captain. Was Roisin Rogers, was that like an easy choice? He seems like not only such a leader and great player, but to be captain as well. Just a real driving force in your team.
Yeah, look, Roisin's a great player. You know what I mean? She's a fabulous player. She's a great leader. The girls really look up to her. And again, like Roisin's only, I think, 24 herself. You know what I mean? But Roisin Rogers is a born leader, and what she does on the pitch, you know what I mean? She lays it out on the pitch for the girls, and what she does, she expects the girls to do the same thing. And like when you need win a big ball or make a big block, Roisin's there. You know what I mean? And that's all you want from your captain. You want your captain, who needs to be that wee bit special, and Roisin Rogers is a very special player.
Yes. And James, so in terms of how it's looking now, I suppose Tyrone are the nearest team that could maybe catch you, but the fact that, listen, the Tip game now obviously is a massive game coming up next, and in Wexford who are pointless at the bottom, we should win that match. So if we can get across the line with Tip, it should be pretty much we're nearly there.
Yeah, no doubt. We played Tip twice last year, Brendan, and we beat them in the league, and then they beat us in the championship. And so going down to Tipperary is definitely not going to be an easy game. But it's what we need to do. Is we need to beat them. And like Tyrone's not far away. And they'll think like they have one loss and one draw, so they've dropped 5 points. Cavan had 2 draws, so they have 2 draws, so they've dropped 4 points. So they have to play each other yet. So that's a big game there, and like I still wouldn't rate. Like Mayo could still sneak in there if the scores went the right way for them. Yeah. So there's still a lot to play for, and even if we beat Tipperary, okay, we still you still have to play Wexford, okay, and that's again when teams are fighting for their life, they can always find another gear, okay, and but look, we're in a good position, Brendan, but it's far from sorted. We have a lot of work to do yet.
Yes. And James, just people talk a lot about the leagues, and we were just saying about competing against the best. Is it something now? Obviously, we've the league and then the Ulster, then you've the All-Ireland series. Is that something, James, that very much that league step, particularly say looking into next year to build in into the championship? Is that all steps in your ladder, or how do you see the rest of the season going in terms of say the championships to play? Then is this league very important, say, in terms of the evolution to get you up to that level where you're really going after a championship?
Yeah, and like to keep us grounded, Declan or Brendan, we have played 2 senior teams this year. The rest of the teams are intermediate, and it was a big game for us yesterday because Mayo and Tyrone are the 2 senior teams. Mayo's have been an established senior team for a long time. So it was big for us to be the senior team yesterday. Yeah. Now we went to Ulster. Now we play. It'll be a round robin with us, Armagh and Tyrone, and that's about having the confidence in what we've done in the league. And I guess it was far from a perfect game. Like a lot of mistakes. Weather had a lot to do with it, but it's about getting better. Okay, getting rid of the mistakes, and when we come up against like the Armaghs and Tyrone, no doubt Tyrone will have a bit more to them when it comes to championship. Dry ball, dry pitch can change a game very quickly. So it's all about it's a step, and the next step, we get to a league final, win a league final, playoffs to championship. It all comes right bang 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 very very quickly, and then qualify for if you can win an Ulster championship, okay, you're going to get a better seeding for the All Ireland series. Yes. So we feel like we didn't put up a great fight against Armagh last year, but we feel that we're a wee bit more experienced, a bit more about us this year, and we like our next goal is to win our 2 games in Ulster, get to an Ulster final, and push on from there.
Yeah, 100%. James, listen, on behalf of all the Donegal supporters, keep up the good work, you and your management team, and we'll be speaking to you as the season goes on.
That's great, Brendan. Thank you very much.
Top man. Thanks, James. Yes, that was James Daly there, Donegal ladies manager. Well done to him, sitting high up in the league. I just wanted to finish off the show here. Thanks Joe Dexford, producing, head of sport, Aishin Kelly. The brilliant Jimmy and Paul, and the Monday night sessions are coming up shortly. Always a great show. I listened to it on the way home, and when I get back up to Liz Monaghan. Next week, I say on the show, Mickey McCann, the Donegal hurling boss, is going to be on. We're also going to tee up actually the visit of the great Brian Cody. He's coming up to the Burt dinner dance. They've asked me down to it there, so I'll be very interested to speak with Brian, maybe even get a wee interview with him from the show. Just 11 All Irelands, I think he's won. An absolute legend of a man, so I've never actually really met him before, so I'm really looking forward to that. I must do my research as well on that, but Mickey is on next week's show. We'll be reviewing all the weekend's action from next weekend, and I will speak to you all then.